Hey there, so I want to share with you guys this overhead stirrer that was sent to me by Fristaden Lab. It retails for $279 and has a 20-liter capacity, so it can mix some pretty large batches. So here are all the items that are included with the overhead stirrer. You'll also, of course, get a user manual. This has all the directions on how to use the stirrer and how to put it together. And they also include a wrench to help you set it all up. So you're going to want to start with the base and then begin by using the piece with the open top to screw into your base. And trust me, it'll feel like it's a tight fit and that it doesn't fit, but trust me, it fits. Then you just want to take the other rod and screw it in on top. So now we're going to take the German clasp clamp and attach it to the rod, and then we're also going to use the other side to attach the motor head. Stick that in there like that, tighten it up, then take the motor head and stick it into the other opening, and then tighten. Now I'm going to take the stirring rod, which, guys, like, this is so beautiful. Just look at the propellers on it, how long it is. I've used other overhead stirrers and it wasn't as beautiful as this. But then it just slips in and then you can tighten it. And basically after that, it is completely assembled. There's one other extra step you can do. It's optional. And that is taking this smaller cross clamp and doing the same thing we did with the larger one. Just slip one side into the rod and then take the flask clamp and slip it in on the other side. And actually, I'm realizing I should have attached this much lower. And this I may not always use. This is essentially just to place a beaker in, and that is the assembly. It's super easy. And now the last thing you want to do is take the cord, plugs into the back of the motor head. And of course, once she's plugged in, you can go ahead and turn it on. And that's how it looks once it's turned on. So once you have it turned on, you might want to go ahead and set different modes. So when you click set, you'll see mode flashes, and there are 3 different modes you can choose from. So I have mode 1 set to 700 RPM, but if you want to change it, just press set again, and you'll see RPM flashes. So this is how you can change the RPM of that. And then you can click set again to set the time of how long you want it to spin for. So we can do, let's do 2 minutes. And then click set, and you notice nothing is flashing. So that means it's ready to go. And you just want to click the power button, and you'll notice the number will keep going up until it reaches 700. And that is when the timer will start. So then now after about a minute, the machine should automatically shut off. And there you go. So let's click set again. And let's move the arrow up to mode 2. And I have mode 2 set to 100 RPM. And that's just, a little bit of a stir. And again, if you want to set the time, you have to set the time like right before you go to use it. If you see how I have it set on 3 minutes, let's turn off the machine and turn it back on. You'll see that the time is gone. So if we go back to mode 2, it's completely reset. So every time you go to use one of your modes, you have to reset the time. It won't automatically be saved. But the RPM setting is saved. So let's go ahead and see this machine in action. This has a 20-liter capacity, so we can use some pretty large beakers. This one here is a 2,000 milliliter beaker. And whenever you're ready, just go ahead and set the mode you want it to be on. I'm going to use mode 2 since it's a pretty low speed. And then just click the power button whenever you're ready. And again, it'll just slowly increase speed, which is wonderful. Love that. And if you want to increase the speed, go ahead and click set. RPM will flash, and you can just use the arrows to go up and down to change the speed. and it won't actually change the speed until you click set again. And once you click set, it'll start slowly raising the speed. And then it stops once it gets to that speed. So before we end this video, I want to quickly just explain what I use this machine for. So the main thing I use this machine for is to create larger batches. So this is a 2,000 milliliter beaker, and here is a 3,000 milliliter beaker. The 3,000 is the largest batch size I make. And as you can see, it's pretty large, and it is a pain to hand stir. So that's when this overhead stirrer comes in handy. And the fact that the propeller is so big is amazing, because it's really gonna make sure that everything gets mixed up extremely well. So I am so happy that this has a 20-liter capacity, so I can actually make large batches much easier. So if you're thinking about scaling up your formulations, I highly recommend getting this overhead stirrer for that. Another thing an overhead stirrer helps with is specifically solubilizers. So if you've ever worked with a solubilizer, like if you're making a body mist, you're supposed to mix the solubilizer with your essential oil or fragrance oil and mix the two together, and then slowly add it into your water. Well, it doesn't work if you're hand mixing, at least not in my experience. So that's when an overhead stirrer would come in handy. You would put the water phase in the overhead stirrer, obviously make sure the propeller is in the water, start mixing it until it creates a vortex, and then slowly add in your solubilizer and essential oil or fragrance oil mixture at a time until it's completely incorporated. And in my experience, I can't get that to work hand mixing. It's only ever worked with an overhead stirrer. So those are my two main reasons I use an overhead stirrer. I'm sure there's other reasons, but those are my two reasons. It's also really good for incorporating xanthan gum and glycerin into your water phases as well to get them to gel and thicken. Really, any type of mixing you need, overhead stirrer is your guy. So if you guys want to purchase this, link down below. Let them know I sent you if you want. And I really hope you guys enjoy the machine. Leave me any questions down below. I'll be happy to answer them for you guys, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Later.
In the motions, I've been consumed by the wrath of time, like I'm shy.